And that is another part of the Not Cops campaign to do systemic audits, is we need to reveal where violence has been hushed.
Because it's not, because as somebody who's trying to research what's happening, the only way I'm able to find this information is to do FOIA requests that they could deny if they wanted to. That they're going to cost me a lot of money because I'm going back to 2011. Yeah. I want incident reports of every time they pulled their gun. And then I'm going to compare situations where they pulled their gun and didn't fire it. I'm going to look at the demographics. Sure. Oh, were there people, because I hear people like you saying that there is a problem, and then I believe that there is a problem, but as far as how I can prove that there's a problem with, and I like spreadsheets, I like pie charts, I like line graphs. So for me, it's about collecting the data myself so that I know that data is reliable and that I can, because the people are like, well, just look at this website, blah, blah, blah. And one website my friend sent me said that that black people are 0.8 times, so less likely to be killed by the police in Wichita than white people. And that just doesn't fit up with the spreadsheet I have of the people I found killed by them that are mostly black, where the black community is smaller than the white community, but my spreadsheet has much more people that are black on it than white. So it's not their data. What was their source? So I have to collect it myself. It's going to cost me a lot of money.
Yeah, and statistics are interesting because you may have what you would call fact, but there is going to be the interpretation based off of the premise that you're operating on. So when we think about the relationship between the police being the savior versus the citizen being the potential danger and criminal, they are going to be speaking under the premise of a certain narrative having more legitimacy than the narrative of somebody else. And when it comes to much of the operations of getting caught up in the system, you are not innocent until proven guilty. You are guilty to the eyes of the public until you can afford to get your name cleared.
You are guilty, and then the eyes of the public, you are whatever the authorities reported to the news and said you were. Mm-hmm. You are a suspect. You are a radical. You are a terrorist. And I think that, like I said again, it's just about tying the two together. Mm-hmm. You have a lot of people right now that are being called by their federal and state government, especially if you live in Kansas, terrorists. They call, technically by their terms, my mother's a terrorist. My mother is a terrorist. So right now you have these people being labeled terrorists and stuff when they're like, I'm not a terrorist. So I need those people to make the connection that when they called DeAndre Hill a suspect, when their image referred to him as a suspect 7 times, when the sheriff called him a suspect 5 times, when they said his name 1 time and it was while showing a mugshot from a petty misdemeanor. I have one of those out there from traffic shit. Not paying a ticket, I got a mugshot. And that is the narrative. And I just want all of them, I want people to just don't run with that narrative and start going online and making comments about, they pointed a gun at somebody. How do you know he pointed a gun at somebody? The sheriff said so. But that is your leading back to your source. If the information you have is because a cop said it, or the sheriff said it, or any structure of power said it, the mayor, anybody that is up there, if all you have is their word, and this is something I told Shepard when we had a conversation beforehand about, because he was like, if you have questions about my campaign, why don't you just come to me? And I said, I'm sorry, but the last person I'm going to go to get the truth about a candidate is them. Because are you serious? No, I'm going to ask other people. I'm going to ask it, and I'm going to ask it publicly. So it's like, people have got to stop just taking the word of authorities. They have to understand.
Thank you.
And I'm not talking to the right-wing people that are MAGA and just have said some of the most vile shit in my comments that I just delete and don't even entertain. No. And I delete them because I don't want the family to see them. I don't want them out there in the ether. So there's a lot I just delete and I move on with my life. I don't entertain. I'm talking to, without naming them, they know who they are, the 2 white liberal women that came in my comments and criticized me as I'm calling out Joseph Shepard for not talking about DeAndre, and in that response to me, did not talk about the problem with DeAndre, did not talk about his death. They did not say his name. They did not It was, don't attack
And
Joseph.
they're more concerned about criticizing the district in which the problem arose than they were about the issue that is in the district where we have a representative that's supposed to take care of those public commentaries. So there was no public comment about this murder. And this actually leads me into my biggest criticisms of the way state violence frames a lot of the commentary about violence, because we need to be aware of what gun violence means as it is spoken about people in a particular community. And so one of the issues is when an individual is accused of gun violence when it is in fact a different system at hand. So when you accuse an individual of being a part of gun violence, when the gun violence is actually the police violence, police brutality, you're not actually addressing the systemic issue. You're deflecting to the tool that is being operated. And if we want to have constitutional rights, they need to be granted to everybody.